Alright class, this is when we are making our African masks. Once you have drawn out your mask on a piece of paper and you did your pattern, which we were going to do, draw half of your mask on one side. That way when you bring it up to the window, you can transfer it to the other and it will be symmetrical when you open it back up. So once you have finished drawing it out, you got the okay with all the extra decorations. It actually looks like one of the 3 tribes we talked about, Dan, Goma, or Sanufu. I'm going to have you cut it out, and this will be your pattern to put on your clay once you roll it out. So once you get your clay from the block here, cut it up. It's going to be a decent sized clay. What you're going to want to do is think about the size of your mask. If it is basically round or more of a square, you're going to want to evenly roll this out. If it's more long, you're going to want to kind of continue rolling in one direction so your clay is also long. You're going to roll it out until it's about as thick as your thumb, or until you can actually get your paper to fit onto your clay. So what I like to do first before I start rolling, I'm going to use my palm and press, starting in the middle, and press outwards. You don't want to go all the way off the edge of your clay, otherwise it's going to get really thin and it will break off there. So this is just to get you started, because if you just roll from what you got off the block, it'll take you forever. Flip it over. Grab a rolling pin. The rolling pins are on the back side of the door in the other room. Roll from the middle. Again, you don't want to roll off the edge because you're going to make your edge really thin. Roll it out. You want to get it as even as possible. Kind of look at it, make sure it doesn't get too thin. So I'm checking either my pointer finger thickness or my thumb thickness. If it stops rolling out on you, pick it up, flip it over, roll again. It just stops rolling out when it starts sticking to your board. Okay, so mine fits on, the pattern fits on my clay. So what I'm going to grab one of these tools. Anything that has a nice flat edge to it, so something like this would be great. You can even use a needle tool, and I'm going to cut all the way around my mask and all the way through the clay. Cut all that extra off. You're going to want to keep this extra because this is going to be to add extras onto your mask. Once you have it cut out, you're going to grab one of these cardboard triangles. We don't want our masks flat, so we're going to actually add some emphasis to them and create more of an angle feel so it pops out at you. However, you can't stick your clay to the cardboard. If you do that, you're going to have to like peel it off. So what you're going to want to do is grab a paper towel and put that between your cardboard and your mask or your clay. Line it up as close as the middle as you can and carefully press down. From there, you're going to get really little fine cracks down the middle because you are bending your clay. You're going to want to rub that out and smooth out the middle. Otherwise, as your clay dries, it's going to crack and become a little bit bigger. So rub it out. You can smooth out the whole entire thing before you move on. You'll also want to smooth out your edges. You don't want anything too sharp. All right, so from here, what you can do is you can put your mask pattern back on your clay, and you'll notice that your clay is now bigger than your pattern, even though you cut it out the same. Your clay stretched out a little bit, not a big deal. And you'll just kind of go from there. So get as close as you can. So what I like to do is use a dull pencil or colored pencil. And I like to cheat just a little bit. So what I end up doing is taking the dull pencil and trace and pressing hard to indent the clay where all my objects were. So when I start adding clay or taking off clay, I know where to do it. And it might be hard to see on the video when I lift this up, my indents, but we'll do the best we can here. All right. We'll just do one side here. Okay. And you can peel it off. And yeah, it's a little bit hard to see, but I have an indent here where the nose is. I have an indent here where the mouth is, so I can see all of these. And the eyes. So you are going to be required to add clay onto other pieces of clay to create thickness and dimension. So like on this one that is finished here, the clay that was added were the eyes, some of the scarification, the nose and the lips, so they stick out. You can also go in and cut pieces of clay out and create cavities, such as this. But you will need at least 3 objects popping out from your mask, whether it's horns or nose or mouth or eyes or whatever. And in order to do that, you're going to take your extra clay, and you can either take it and form it with your hands. So let's say I'm just going to make really ginormous lips here quick. The bottom one. And if I just stick it on here like that, it's not going to stay. It's going to fall off. So, and that's kind of like the little flick test. If you do a flick test with your finger and it falls off, it's going to fall off later. So you're going to want to scratch and slip both pieces wherever you're going to put it. So I'm going to add little scratch marks to it and scratch marks to the piece of clay I'm going to add on. Okay, then I'm going to take my slip, my ginormous slip bucket here, grab a little bit of slip out of there, and it's nice and gooey, and that's kind of what you want. You only have to put slip on one piece of clay. If you want to put it on both, you certainly can, but really only has to be on one. Then you're going to press it down on there. The slip is kind of like glue. It'll hold your clay pieces together. Now, just because I added slip doesn't mean it'll stay. It has a better chance of staying, but you're also going to want to take a nice tool like this. It kind of has a little spoon end, a little curve to it. You're going to take a little piece of the clay that you added, and you're going to push it down into your mask around the edges. And you're going to do that all the way around. So you're taking a little piece of clay that you added and pushing it down into your face or into your mask. Once you have done that all the way around, you're going to take your finger and smooth it out. Otherwise you're going to get those jaggedy edges that will stay there. If you do that, all those steps there, this piece of clay will not fall off. Okay, so you can add pieces like that. If you are doing a Snuffu mask with horns or extra things that are popping out, you can either, as you cut your mask out and you have horns on the side, you can cut those out with your face, or maybe you're going to add ears because it's a lion or a cat or something, and you want them to be on top of your mask, sticking out like this. Again, to add 2 pieces of clay together, you're going to scratch wherever it's going to be on both pieces. You're going to slip it, attach it, and then again, you're going to take that spoon-like tool, take a little piece from the ear, and smush it down into your clay. And you got to do the front side and the back side all the way around. Smooth it out, and then you have a piece of clay that actually sticks out. When you put this in a bag, however, you have to be really careful not to smush your ear or your horn or whatever that sticks out like this down, because if it keeps going up and down each time you work with it every day, it'll eventually fall off. All right, so now that we know how to add pieces of clay onto our mask, we are also going to show you how to take clay out. There are different options to do that. We have a ribbon tool, and this is awesome because it actually like cuts into your clay and peels pieces away and peels pieces out. So something like that. It's going to add scarification or whiskers or whatever. You can take pieces of clay off. You can take the end of your tool and add circles and other things like that. Very last thing, we're going to put a damp paper towel over top, not too wet, otherwise your cardboard will get really soggy and it will smush down on you. So this is cleanup for the end of the day. Damp paper towel over top. You're going to need a plastic bag. You're going to slide it into your plastic bag. Try and get as much air out as possible without pushing down on any protruding pieces of clay. Get all that air out. Twist it up at the end. And either rubber band it or push it underneath. You don't want your bag to be left open, otherwise when you come back the next day, your clay will be totally dry and you won't be able to work with it anymore. Extra clay, if you still need it for next time, ball it up, wet paper towel, damp paper towel around it. This can go underneath your cardboard box in the same bag. All right, that should be it. Thank you.